What's going on, guys? I got a potential beast for us here that could be setting up big time. Gonna look into a few indicators along this video and see if we can find anything that has a lot of confluence that's going to allow us to show if this is something that could be setting up or not. So far, it's really looking pretty damn good. We're just going to have to dive in a little bit more. So, I got to move this trend line, though, because I just realized it's not actually touching that wick there. So, it makes me wonder if that recent touch was considered there, that upper trend line or not, where we got a little bit of a harsh rejection. And this is like a long-term, you don't always have to draw like a trend line across the whole trend, but it's going to allow you to see the long-term resistance and the long-term support, which is why I like to do it. But then you want to zoom in and you want to take a look at, just because this has this big pattern here doesn't mean that it has to go up, because obviously there has to be something that gave the buyers a reason to get in. So, you could do a trend line like that as well, just to say, what was the reason that this thing decided to rip, and it looks like maybe something along the lines of that. And that was what we did. We came out of this potentially something like this. So that would have been something nice to spot and then get in down here, play this little breakout up here. So whether or not this was considered a rejection or not right here, I wouldn't really call it a rejection. We didn't fall down that hard. What we can see is that this guy has been trending in here for a long time. It had a massive blow off top that usually signals the start of some kind of triangle. So usually this is the big correction period after a big blow off top, and you'll notice that with most stocks, once you have a blow off top, you kind of want to expect that you're going to build something bigger, and then wait till the apex, which is the end of the pattern, and then expect something big. Now, usually with something that's a little more bullish, it'll have a breakout somewhere in this, somewhere up in this range here, and you'll get a breakout like at this point of the triangle. But with sometimes with like different kinds of stocks here, a little bit weaker or smaller cap stocks, they'll break out closer to the end of the apex. So now that we have that idea of what allowed us to break to the upside here short term, we got to find the resistance. And it actually is going to work out pretty nicely for me, because I have a resistance here. Oh no, my trend line. Give me a second. This is white. This is times 2. Okay. How's that? No, that's not what I wanted. I don't know why my color changed. That's fine. Alright. So basically, we have this resistance here, and it looks like it's around like 334 or so. And 334, 345, let's see, 340 roughly. And I do have something that comes in confluence there, in my view, that we could look at as... Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked. There we go. All right. So this was also another way to look at it. Something like that. Once you break this flat bottom support, this flat top support or resistance, you break out. All the wicks kept coming up here, touching. When you break that, you can enter. And we got in. So I'm not in this though, but so right now it kind of looks like it's making some kind of falling wedge right here. Whoops. Yeah, it looks like it's making some kind of falling wedge here. We have these 3 wicks, 3 points of interest. Pull that down. And depending on how far it's going to have to go, we'll have to see. It looks like actually right now on the daily here, we're actually holding the 200 daily EMA here roughly, which is around $3, $2.97. And then you have your upper resistance here, which broke through a hair, but roughly around that 315. So, you know, depending on how this works out, like if it's really going to be bullish here, it might be able to get a breakout here on the next candle, come up to test that one of these resistance marks here. And if it has to consolidate more, it might go down this falling wedge more. But, you know, the thing for me is that holding this 200 EMA right now on the daily seems like some pretty solid support. So if we look at the 4-hour here, what do we see? We see a nice fat candle here, which could be insinuating that we could be working our way towards a break of this falling wedge right now. Now the target's not huge on this wedge that we see here, but it's enough to probably bring it up to, you know, this 340 level. So now you can see all these moving averages are all crossing to the upside, which, you know, that's going to allow us to have some good price action there. You know, the shorter terms moving averages, that's, to me, it's just noise because, you know, yeah, they mean something because you can tell if they're just bearish or if they're bullish here. You know, when they're all crossing down, you can expect that they're probably going to drop. But so I mean, that's one thing to do. But sometimes judging it off of those can confuse me. So that's why I use the EMA ribbons and I use the Ichimoku cloud, and it makes it look a little bit messy, as you've seen in some of my videos when you add those. But if you can understand them, they're going to tell you so much. And look at this. This is proving a whole lot to us right here, and which is why I'm looking in this thing in the first place. We can see that anytime we popped above this red line on the Ichimoku cloud that we talk about in all my videos, especially recently because I've been using it a lot, we get a massive, massive pump. Now, whether or not this is a short squeeze, who knows? I don't care. It's just we want to find these things because I'm sure, just like me, and I'm sure you're the same way if you're watching this or whatever, you always say, damn, I wish I could find these short squeezes and find all these things. And, you know, it's all these people doing this and blah, blah, blah. You know, Reddit. I need to go to Reddit and find out who's saying to pump these things and blah. You know, in reality, if you can figure out how to read the price action, we can easily call these short squeezes. And, you know, whether or not this is going to be considered one or not, it's showing me signs here that we have some consolidation on top of this key resistance line, and this is a 3-hour chart. So although we wicked below here, we never started closing candle bodies below. So as long as we don't close flat candle bodies below and start, you know, especially like 2 and 3 and 4-hour candles, those are more powerful than a 1 hour, around $3, we can expect that we should continue higher. And then, you know, this is all between trend analysis, not even really doing targets or anything, Ichimoku cloud, EMA ribbons, stuff like that. Now, you know, on the downside here, we could make a case that, oh wait, I'm glad I caught that. I was going to say we could make a case that this EMA ribbon flipped from green to red, but look what happened on this 4-hour time frame. It flipped green. So what happened last time that the EMA ribbon flipped green? Let's take a look. Right here in this downtrend, you know, there was a point where it flipped green here, and, you know, obviously that could have been a little bit misleading. However, this was a clear, you know, bear flag or further consolidation to the downside here. Continuation pattern is what I meant to say. But anyway, this would just be one example. Started to flip red, and it flipped green as we came in confluence with it. And boom, right when we were next to it, getting really tight. And I'm sure there's many other reasons here. You know, even here where it flipped red to green, continuation pattern and down, we still ended up breaking up once this thing started really squeezing here. You can see how it's pinching and getting really tight. What happened here? It was getting really, really tight. Started opening up, rip. So what are we doing now? We're pinching here. We got really tight. We're opening up here. You know, I mean, that's just something to keep an eye on. It doesn't mean like, you know, the width of it really, I don't think it means like more of a powerful move, however, but it does mean that when you're flipping green, that the trend is getting a little more bullish. So the other thing we can see is we already had a 4-hour cross. We had a little bit of a, you know, downwards price action consolidation, and now we're kind of rolling back up here. So the momentum is starting to come back on this 4-hour time frame, On the 2-hour time frame, it looks like we're testing the upper resistance, so we could be at resistance exactly roughly around this 314, 315 area. And you don't have to play this. We don't have to play this pattern here, but we want to try to get in here if we're going to get some closes above 346, and I'm going to show you that right now for a few reasons. So, looking at the weekly time frame, we can see this clear weekly close right above this 282, which is a great sign. This blue line here is not what I thought it was. That's not, wait, hold on a second. Let me get rid of the Ichimoku cloud, put on the EMAs. Okay, here we go. This EMA, it's hard to see right now, but this blue line here coming down, this is the 100 weekly moving average at 326. If we can actually pop above that here and get a weekly close above, open the following weekly candle, or hold above that 326 even on the smaller time frames here, we could be setting up for something pretty juicy. And you can see what my target is. So my target, the target based off of this pattern lands us roughly around this 200 weekly EMA. And then we also have this EMA resistance here that's still red, but it could be squeezing. It's going to take a little bit of time to flip green. That's around 538, 526. And then our second there is around $6. So whether or not we have to come up and just tap that only and then get rejected, we'll have to see how it goes. But if we start breaking into the $4 or $5 range, there's going to be people hyping up on this thing, right? So this is something I always like to look out for, is getting in a little bit before everyone starts posting on the Facebook Robinhood group pages and everything like that. We had a weekly MACD cross there showing momentum is strong. Monthly is still crossed. Monthly is curling up here too, which is nice. Eventually we'll have to keep an eye on this here because it seems to be making some kind of potential pattern, but that's just something. Looking at the monthly, that takes a long time to play out, but you can see it still held support on its usual RSI line there. So and then the daily, like I said, it notched down. It looks like it got a nice bounce. The weekly is only rolling over a hair here. There is some potential weekly bearish divergence right here, but that usually takes a long time to play out. And if the price action ends up moving up above this 345 area, that should cancel it out. So really, we're in this zone here where we need to move another 30 to 40 cents and close and start holding above, even if it ends up flagging out. I don't know how it's going to work. So I do have to head to work here soon, so I'm going to try one last indicator that I want to try, because I do have something pretty cool that might come in handy for this exact situation. I'm not saying that this has to be a short squeeze. I have no idea. If anyone wants to look into the short interest or anything on it, that is completely up to you, but that would be great and I would love to hear about it. However, I don't know anything about that. But this indicator down at the bottom here, we can see from green to red. I mean, I've never really used it, but it said something about like a squeeze indicator. And you can see that the higher this green gets, the more you end up getting a nice pump usually. When it's just kind of just flipping green, it's a small little hump. We're not getting too much. Big humps, what do you get? You get some big movement. So right now, look at the size of this frickin' hump that we got going on right here. I mean, yeah, make the case it's not as big as the other ones here, but it's way bigger than this one that had a fake pump, way bigger than this one that had a fake pump, way bigger than this that had a fake pump. This one's fucking the Tower of Terror. You know what I mean? But you see what I'm saying here. This squeeze indicator is supposedly supposed to help us to decide like if it's a real something really building here, and it's just starting out. So this thing can come up here like a frickin' mountaintop. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep an eye on it. I'm not banking. I'm not putting money on this indicator. I have no idea how well it actually works, but it's something I've been kind of wanting to try out, and this seems like a good scenario here. So let's just keep an eye on this thing. And I talked about some price targets and stuff. I don't know anything about the company. If anyone knows about it, I've heard good things from somebody that pointed this out to me a while back when I noticed this normal trend that it likes to get into as far as in this channel here. It really likes to come up to 338, then come back down, then go up to 338, and it just chops in here. So, you know, that being said, we do have to be a little bit cautious when it does get up above that 340, if it does. And we don't want to just jump right in. We want to like look for some confirmations. If we start getting up there, hopefully I'll remember to put another video out updating it. But if anyone's following me on this trade, if I do decide to, well, I'm planning on most likely pulling the trigger. I might even like buy a few shares here today, just because it is looking like it's setting up a little bit, just to keep it on my radar here. But I have to expect that it might get rejected here at this 338, 340. But if we can start seeing some candle closing or some kind of price action happening above here, that would be awesome. So hopefully you guys enjoy this little video here, and good luck with your trading today. Peace.